What is going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. And if you guys are new, welcome. Today we are going to be talking about an exotic that just got updated once again in the Doom Fang Pauldrons. Now these things have the exotic perk Horns of Doom, which allows us to now, instead of just its base regen for that Sentinel shield and giving us super energy on melee defeats, we can now get that bonus damage on void weapons, just like our weapon surges that we have on our boots, but we can get that max stack ×5 on the weapon damage just from these arms, so we don't even need to use those weapon surges. So we're gonna go over this build right here, allowing you to juice those enemies inside of the PvE realm while having that super basically forever when it's popped because of our exotic in the Doom Fangs. So we will get right into it with our armor and the mods first. So starting us right here is our exotic that I was talking about with that exotic perk, Horns of Doom. Defeating targets with void damage has a chance to grant us that bonus damage for void weapons. So when you get a grenade or a melee defeat, it immediately stacks up to ×5, which lasts for 5 seconds, and then it goes down to ×4. But if you get kills within that 5 seconds, it will stay at ×5. Now, when you get defeats with void weapons, it'll just stack normally ×1, ×2, ×3, ×4, and then you have to get a melee or grenade defeat to stack it up to ×5. You also get super energy on those melee defeats, and like I said, when you're in your Sentinel, you basically have that thing forever as long as you're getting hits with your throwing Sentinel shield. Now for our mods, we're building this out so we can have that melee basically consistently in double momentum transfer, with our grenade giving us reduced melee cooldown when we have damage, and then melee kickstarter. Since we don't have to use those weapon surges, we're going to have this on, so when we do throw our melee out, we're going to get a nice chunk of it back depending on our armor charge. Now for our other mods, we're going to be using Heavy Ammo Finder with Dynamo and Harmonic Siphon, so we're going to get Orbs of Power everywhere with our void weapons, as well as our super back a little bit faster when we throw down our barricade, which will also happen very consistently. We're also going to be using Charged Up right here to increase that armor charge by 1, so we get a little bit more energy back from melee kickstarter. With Double Arc Reserve, you can switch those out for anything inside of Solar, Void, Stasis. You can switch them and match whichever you are going into, but what I was doing, lots of arc damage, so had double on. Now we are going to be using Elemental Charge with Void Scav and Kinetic Scav because of our weapons that we're going to be using, but right here with that Elemental Charge, we are getting the Void Breaches to also give us the armor charge, which we will be creating on this build, as well as Reaper Double Bombers. When we do cast down our barricade, we're going to be able to create that extra potent orb of power from our next weapon defeat, as well as get some grenade energy back as well, which will help us to proc that momentum transfer when we do that little extra damage. Now to go over weapons on this build, we're going to be using the Wither Horde with Unforgiven, and then Braytech with Envious, Assassin, and Lasting Impression. The other options for heavies, I got the Regnant Commemoration, Falling Guillotine, Retrofit Escapade, and then for our energy weapons, you got Word of Crota, new from the raid. We got Duma Chelchis as well as Funnel Web, but I'm going to keep Wither Horde consistent because of our scavenger mods on our boots, as well. So that extra little bit of damage from the Wither Horde with the damage boost that we get from our arms is super nice, because we can throw Wither Horde on, shoot a couple rockets at them with lasting impression, and the Envious Assassin, we're holding like 4 in the magazine. Then you just wait for the enemy to die. You can see the gameplay right here. We are just able to wipe out enemies so fast with this build and volatility. We get that weapon damage stack into ×4, ×5 for our void weapons. Stick one of those yellow bars with a Wither Horde, throw even a grenade at them, because we're going to go over that in a second, which weakens them. Throw a couple ospreys, rockets at them, lasting impressions, and you just sit and wait for havoc to be wreaked. Adding to that chaos, we are building this out for, like I said, the melee. Now, because of that, we're going to be using Bastion and Offensive Bulwark. Well, we have an Overshield or Inside Ward of Dawn. Our grenade charges significantly faster. We have increased melee damage and range, which our melee also extends that Overshield. So that is why we are going to be using our Vortex Grenade with the Shield Throw. Just feels best for that combination. Now, on top of that, that Bastion is going to help us get that Overshield by throwing down our barricade, which it is super fast, as you've seen from the gameplay, getting that back with 100 resilience on this build. Now, of course, we're going to be using Sentinel Shield to pair with Doomfangs in our exotic arms. Now, for our fragments, Echo of Undermining for that weakening effect on our grenades, for that extra little bit of DPS, because they are weakened. Defeating the weakened targets is going to create us orbs of power and void breaches, which we will use those void breaches to give us class energy, as well as we are going to use them to become Devour and have that nice Echo of Starvation procced and have that health regen. So orbs of power and void breaches are going to give us that, as well as those grenades are going to give us volatile rounds on our void weapons, which just adds to the DPS add clear of this build, which is already insane in itself. Now, last but not least, for this artifact, nothing too crazy that we are using, besides the scavenger discount right here. Our void orbs, of course, just because we have them for the season, but most importantly, elemental munitions and monochromatic moisture, which gives us that nice increased damage for our weapons as well as our abilities. And we're going to have heavy and special ammo flowing because of the munitions side of this. So this build is absolutely insane for when you have your super. You're going to keep it forever. When you're getting defeats with your throwing shield, then you can get a shield bastion to get a throwing shield and just have that thing for entire damage phases on bosses, as long as those ads keep spawning. Because even if you're just getting hits on something like a champion, a boss that isn't going to get defeated in one throw, you still get a chunk of energy back, just not as much as you get on a final blow. So the ability of these arms to have the super energy forever is already crazy. And then now with the buff that it got this season, it's allowing us to get that ×5 for weapon surge on our void weapons without using leg mods. And it is so easy to get with either our weapons, which just stacks normally 1, 2, 3, 4, or as soon as we get one of those melee defeats or grenade defeats, which we are getting very quickly as well because of our armor mods and the feedback loop of throwing down our shield, getting our grenade back, throwing our grenade to get our melee back, and it just goes round and round as it goes for that ability spam. It is super fun, and definitely one of the classic exotics for Void Titans in the Doomfangs. So it is worth grinding this out to get a good roll on a Doomfang, and definitely throw it on. You're able to do some crazy damage with your Void weapons, having that at the max at ×5 just by getting those grenade and melee defeats. So definitely gonna be a go-to alongside my Heart of Inmost Light for just void builds. Definitely my 2 most used exotics on Titan for void. So hopefully y'all can try this out. I appreciate all y'all sticking around, hanging out, always coming back to the channel for these guides, builds, weapons, everything like that. Make sure to hit up the description down below for that PC giveaway that we're doing with Vast, as well as the Discord. Hit the subscribe button and that bell so you can join the channel. Don't miss out anything like that. You get some extra entries into the giveaway as well. So be on the lookout for more videos coming super soon. Lots to go over. Again, appreciate all y'all. I will catch you in the next one. Peace.